Hello everyone and welcome to this iland tech tip, managing your cloud-based NSX configurations with the iland Secure Cloud Console. VMware NSX is a software-defined virtualized networking platform that offers an incredible amount of power and flexibility for any organization. While many companies are incorporating it into their on-site data centers, did you also know that when it comes to managing your cloud-based infrastructure, you can maintain full visibility and management of your networking within the iland Secure Cloud Console? In this tech tip, we cover how to manage and modify your NSX edge gateways in the iland console, including firewall rules, natting rules, DHCP, routing, and Layer 2 VPNs. From within the iland Secure Cloud Console, you have visibility into all of your cloud-based services, whether it's backup as a service, DR as a service, infrastructure as a service. Now, while you're using infrastructure as a service or even DR as a service and it's been failed over, one of the most important things that you want to be able to maintain and control is your networking. So from the console over here, you can select whatever data center you're looking at, whether you've failed over to a remote location or this is the location where your infrastructure as a service is housed, and you can easily select that data center. If you want to see an overview of all of your networking, go ahead and click on the networking tab up here. And here you'll see all of your edge gateways, your internal networks, public network connections, as well as any DNS records that may be set up. From here on the left, since we're really just talking about the NSX stuff, you can see all of your edge gateways over here. If you highlight the main section of edge gateways, it'll show you all of the different gateways that you potentially have, as well as their status over here. You can drill down into each one by clicking on it, and this main dashboard is going to show you all of the information that you need. Everything from the status to the public IP address, any internal networks, and over here you have a full set of actions that you can accomplish. There are a few things that you can configure, and we're not going to go through every single one, but for example, you can set your rate limits, you can configure your SSL VPNs, and most importantly, you can set your edge alerts. And these can be thresholds for bandwidth over time. And up top by the dashboard are all of the different tabs that help you get into the more advanced configurations for this NSX particular gateway. So let's go ahead and click on firewall. And here you can see the status. You can see all of the different firewall rules. And over here you can go ahead and export this table. You can manage the firewall. And here's where you would add any new rules, whether it's port-based, whether it's IP address-based. All of your traditional firewall configuration stuff can be done within the Secure Cloud Console. Now when it comes to natting, you can go ahead and click on the NAT tab. Here again, you can see if it's enabled. You can see all of the different protocols, whether it's TCP, UDP, or any, and you can also determine what it's going to do and where it's going to go inside of your environment. Again, over here, we can go ahead and we can manage it. We can export or import configurations. And here you can add a new secure network address translation rule or a regular destination network address translation rule here. When you're all done, you can go ahead and click on submit. And that will update the NAT page. Now let's say you want to maintain and manage a DHCP list for any of the virtual machines that are within your cloud-based infrastructure. You can click on DHCP, and again here it'll show you whether it's enabled or disabled, and you can use the Actions tab to disable it or enable it. When leveraging IP pools, you can go over here and click on Manage DHCP IP pools, and this is where you could actually add additional IP address pools that your DHCP server will give out to any of the virtual machines that are within your environment. Here you can see all of the IP ranges, the subnet mask gateway, everything you traditionally set up in your DHCP servers. Now another thing that you can do is if you're leveraging MAC address to get a static IP address, sort of like statically assigning a virtual machine an IP address within the operating system, but instead giving it a DHCP, but then letting it come up, let the MAC address register, and then give it an IP address that you have defined and well known, you can do that under static bindings. So we click here, we go to Manage DHCP Static Bindings, and over here is where we can add the new binding, give it the MAC address, the host name, the IP address, and that will go into the DHCP settings as well. And finally on this screen, you can set up Dhcp Relay, which will allow your systems within the iland Secure Cloud Console to leverage any sort of DHCP settings that you already have on site once you have an established tunnel between the two sites, or vice versa. Next up, you have the full functionality and capability to modify and manage all of your routing within your environment. Now, this is explained much more in our Success Center articles, but here you can see whether or not the routing tables are enabled or disabled, whether you're using static routes or not, or a myriad of the other routing protocols that are available within the NSX environment. And lastly, we have Layer 2 VPN. Layer 2 VPN allows you to extend your on-site organization into the cloud by allowing virtual machines, both on-site and in the cloud, to have the same class IP addresses and be able to communicate between the two sites. It also works really well if you're migrating a virtual machine from on-site to the cloud or doing a disaster recovery or a partial failover. This allows you to communicate with the virtual machines that are in your organization on-site into the cloud without having to modify IP addresses or do any sort of routing. All of that stuff is taken care of by the Layer 2 VPN. Over here, you can click on Configure L2 VPN, and then choose whether you're going to be server or client mode, give it all the IP addresses and the ports. You may have to change some modifications to your firewall rule, all of the encryption, all of that stuff. But all of that's available here within the Secure Cloud Console for you to manage and maintain. And that's it for this quick tech tip on how to leverage the Iland Secure Cloud Console to manage your NSX infrastructure for your Iland Secure Cloud. Now, much more information can be found at success.iland.com, and we look forward to seeing you on many other tech tips. Thank you.